Hey folks, I'm Jonathan Hart with the Charleston Angler in Charleston, South Carolina, and I'm here with the Nuts and Bolts Pro Tip of the Week. Have you ever been fishing and you know the fish are in the edge of the grass or deep in the grass? You make that cast and all you bring back is a hook full of salad. This week we're going to show you how to rig some soft plastics in a way that you can throw in the grass and get after those fish, and you can fish them weedless and not get hung in the grass. Some of the most effective baits for big trout, big reds, and flounder are artificial shrimp and paddle tail grubs. The way we rig these so that they're weedless, we use a flutter hook. A flutter hook is designed so that you have your weight below the bait. You have your weight on the bottom of your hook, and you also have an offset shaft so that the bait can sit parallel with the hook and the eye. There's also another type of flutter hook, which is a little different. It has a weight on the bottom just like the first one, but instead of that offset shank at the top, it's got a hitchhiker that you can simply screw into the front of your bait. To put an artificial shrimp on a hitchhiker hook, screw the hitchhiker into the nose of the bait. You always want to be careful that you get the hitchhiker in the very center of the bait so that it'll swim right and it'll set correctly on the hook. As I'm screwing this in the bait, I'm keeping it as straight in the center of the bait as I can. After you put the hitchhiker in the nose of the bait, you want to hold the bait next to the hook and see exactly where that hook is going to be coming out of the bait. I usually use my index finger to mark on the bait right where the hook is going to come out. Once I've marked that with my index finger, I pull the hook down. This is another time you want to make sure that the hook is centered in the bait. And we're going to just run that straight through the bait and come out in the same spot that my index finger was marking it. This is what actually makes the flutter hook weedless. The hook sits parallel and flush up against the top of that bait. So anything that's running over the bait isn't getting hung on the hook. So if my finger was a blade of grass, it's not getting hung. The way this works, when a fish bites, he actually pushes the plastic down, slides like that, and that's how you get hooked with the fish. Another tip, if you're using a very stiff, soft plastic, you go through a few more artificial baits like this, but you can take a knife and actually cut the middle of the bait, and what that does is make that bait easier to push down, so you miss a lot less hookups when the fish bites it. Another style of flutter hook we use doesn't have the hitchhiker. It's got an offset shank, but it's also got the weight on the bottom. We're going to use this to rig a Project X bait. First thing you want to do, just like the other one, is put the hook in the very center of the bait, go in just a little bit, come out, slide the weight through the bait, come out. Once you've got that, you always want to make sure your eye's in the center of your bait, and we're also going to use our index finger here to mark where the hook's going to come out of the bait. Once we mark that, put the hook through the center of the bait here, come up. If you can see that, this bait actually has a nice pocket in the top. That hook can just sit right down inside that pocket. When the fish bites, he's going to push that bait down and expose the hook point. And that's when he's going to get hooked. And again, when you're throwing that in the grass, when the hook point is inside the pocket, you have nothing sitting on the top. So it's smooth. And that's where your weedless comes from. Rigging baits like this helps me catch more fish, and I'm sure it'll do the same for you. Have a great day.
Nuts and Bolts Pro Tips have been brought to you by the Charleston Angler, Charleston's premier fishing and fly tackle shop. Visit one of their 4 locations for the best gear, expert fishing knowledge, and impeccable service.